Part 3. And hopefully you have completed part 1, part 2 of the Are You in Your Heart challenge. And this is the completion part 3. Invitation only. If it is helpful, try it on. If it doesn't resonate with you, then absolutely leave it to one side. But the invitation is to at least attempt the experience to see if it fits or if it doesn't. Whereas if there's a resistance to trying something and one won't even try it, to me that's an unofficial experiment. That is just avoidance. And for whatever reason, there's a part of you avoiding something if you just assume this isn't for you without even trying it. Whereas if you try it on, go, oh, okay, that was a good takeaway, I'm not sure about this, then it's an effective experiment. But the invitation is to try something and take what works for you and discard anything that doesn't. But perhaps there's parts of you that are in judgment of me or don't like being told what to do. Therefore, if it's an invitation or an exercise, you're just immediately like, no, I'm not doing that. I would say it's worth addressing the resistance to whatever that is. Nice. Okay. And part 3 is hopefully a nice completion. And this is going to go out on a Friday email. So the invitation is to attempt the exercise for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is something that I teach to anyone wanting to heighten their intuition, people working to develop their intuition. I have an online training called, forgotten what it's called, Mystical Mastery. So it's about heightening your mystical abilities and upping your psychic senses, really being able to trust and hone your intuition. And it's your psychic sense or your sixth sense from all areas. So the somatic psychic, your visual, your auditory, and your kinesthetic. So those 3 psychic channels, because one of them will be more heightened than the other for certain people. So some people go, well, I'm not psychic, because they assume if they're not visual, they're not psychic. Because so many people say, oh, I can see this, and they're visual and they get all these pictures through the third eye. And people that aren't visual will assume they don't have psychic sense. Whereas to really hone your intuition, you need embodiment and self-trust, because messages come through in metaphors, and it's not... psychic isn't black and white. It is, how do I know and read and decipher on all levels what this is, what spirit is saying to me. So self-trust and embodiment are a big part of being psychic, because otherwise it's just random. So if you want to use it to serve yourself, you need to grow the psychic vessel on all areas. And this is an exercise that I teach as part of that training, so that one is in the body and feels safe in the body to receive somatic messages, to receive visuals, to receive auditory. It's almost like you need to put yourself in receiving mode, because a lot of the time we're in doing mode. I've got to do this task, I need to do this part of my work, I need to do that and do the kids' tea and do this and do the other, and we're in do. Whereas to receive messages from spirit, one needs to be in a place of being and receiving, and how to quickly get your vessel and your psychic channels open in receiving mode. But it's also a beautiful exercise to clear mind chatter and to really come into the present moment, because it puts you in presence immediately and puts you in receiving mode. So it's a really good exercise because often being in one's head is a habitual state, and do and think and work all of this out, that then when one reminds oneself to become present, it's easier to then hear the mind chat, or to go, oh, what was I just thinking about? Because just in daily life, we're not often aware of the thoughts that we're looping or what we're thinking about, because it's such a habit of thoughts on loop that you're not necessarily aware of it because you're so used to it happening. It's just there. So being able to be conscious of your mind chat, that's what this third exercise is about, from head to heart. How do you easily and effectively, one, become aware of your mind chat, and two, shush it up, really. The quickest trick for shushing mind chat is literally to put your eyes in peripheral vision. So if you do that now, an invitation to do that now, and soften your gaze so that you're not looking at anything, and you can sort of try and become aware of your hands either side of you, will immediately quieten your mind, because you're not looking at a specific thing. Changes your receiver from do and concentrating on the thing to being in the space, and immediately has an effect on your brainwaves. So that's one very good trick. If you're a bit like overwhelmed with anything, just soften and breathe, and don't look at a specific thing. And it's the mind wanting to come to a place of, I need a rest, I need a break, I need some time in being rather than doing. And what I found out was such a shame is because that peripheral vision state is a state that people go into during the day. You know, when you're driving and you just go, ooh, I have no idea. I haven't really been concentrating the last 5 minutes. You sort of think, ooh. And you space out. It's another word. And my daughter, unfortunately, gets told off at school for drifting off and spacing out, which is such a shame, because we talked about it since, but there's a part of me that finds it's really imperative for children to have a space in receiving mode and meditation, as well as doing and concentrating, and the teacher allowing them the space to know the difference. And it's like, now we're concentrating on maths, but that it's not a bad or wrong thing to space out. It's a necessary part of your consciousness to be in receiving mode, because it needs a rest at times. It needs to come into meditation and into the body, and it needs to receive something, and that it's not talked about as something that's understood. They're just told off for spacing out and not concentrating at school, which is such a shame, because it's not bad or wrong. It's very necessary to be in your body, and she wants to be in her body, but it is just needs to be spoken about in a specific way, so that she just doesn't judge that place as something that's bad or wrong. But very interesting that we're conditioned at school to think that receiving mode is not okay. And then when we're adults, we retrain to go into receiving mode to heighten our intuition and trust ourselves. Very strange. So this exercise is called security, approval, control. And it is about bringing your awareness into a sense of safety. So that you breathe into your pelvic bowl. And the mantra is, I am safe and secure in this now moment. You breathe into your pelvic bowl, breathe into your perineum, breathe into your body, and your consciousness is saying, I am safe and secure in this now moment. Bringing your awareness into a place of safety. If that doesn't feel true for you, if you don't feel safe in your body, then your mantra can be, I am working towards feeling safe and secure in this now moment. Because you don't want to loop something that doesn't feel true for you. So if you don't feel safe, you can say, I'm working towards feeling safe and secure in this now moment. And then the second one is reminding yourself of a sense of approval. And this one is because one can quite often live in the past, regretting certain things or judging oneself for decisions in the past. So to bring all of that energy into the now moment, if there's any level of acceptance for every single decision that you've ever made in your whole life, because all of your decisions is a learning and an experience. You cannot get any choice wrong. It is just, I've made that choice, had that experience, and I can approve of it, even though it transpired that perhaps it wasn't the most effective thing to do or say or be. That's what you chose in that moment. And love and accept all of your decisions and send yourself compassion for all of your past, everything that's happened. You have done your best with the tools that you've had available. And just bring all of your energy into the present moment so nothing is stuck or lingering on things of the past, should have, would have, could have. Everything is as it should be. And you're allowed to accept and approve of all of who you are, learning from all of it, taking your fullness forward. And the third part is a state of surrender. Do you trust your higher self to be in the driving seat of your life? Do you trust your soul? Can you surrender and relax into receiving mode, relax into your soul, rather than needing to be in this ego state of do and know and fix on the thing and hold on? Is there a surrender and a softening into, okay, I don't know. I don't have to know. I trust my soul. I trust my higher self. I trust my beingness. And I surrender into the unknown of this present moment. And then breathing into those three things. Safety, self-love, self-approval, and surrender. I don't know. That's okay. And I call this the wisdom place, the receiving place. It's also a state of all needs met. And I find the part of my humanness that can soften when all its needs are met. The part of my human that wants to be safe, the part of my human that seeks for approval, and the part of my human that wants to be in control, that wants to know, that wants to be attached on the thing, that wants to prove my point right, the part of my consciousness that loops ineffective things even just to be right, to know, the part that's fooling myself, so I can shift into my wisdom when all of those needs are met. They're 3 core human needs. And all my consciousness is trying to be safe, trying to be approved of, and pretending to get those things from attempting to be in control. With, if I prove myself right that I know this, I'll be safe, I'll be approved of. And sometimes that catches us in ineffective patterns. So if I consciously put myself in a place of safety, I consciously approve of my light and my dark, and say, I'm learning. This is how I would treat a child. If they made a mistake, they're learning. And allow my soul to relax into, I don't know, because I'm learning. I don't need to know. I can surrender into the free fall of, I don't know what's next. And that's okay. And consciously meeting your own human needs brings one into a state of complete presence. And this, to me, is the psychic state. Because one can't get psychic messages when if I'm trying to be in a state of approval, or I still need to get safety, I'm not going to give dialed in messages for somebody else. I might be trying to seek approval of them if I'm trying to give a psychic message or a psychic reading to somebody. I might be saying something just to seek approval, and my humanness wants approval from them. That's not a psychic message for them. That's the human part of me needing a need met. Whereas if I have all my needs met, I am a clear channel for spirit, for source, for psychic messages. I don't need anything from my client or for whoever I'm giving a psychic message to. Therefore, I can trust that this is a clear message for them with no judgment or none of my parts needing anything. Does that make sense? So that's why I teach it for psychically. But why it's useful for your journey from head to heart is because then your head isn't trying to get any needs met. Your head isn't looking for approval from your partner. You're not looking for security in money. You are all needs met, and you're able to be true to yourself. And from that place, because you've got your needs met, your head isn't trying to meet needs unconsciously because you've consciously met those needs. Therefore, this is a very good foundation for knowing self, being present, what is true for me right now, and moving away from conditioned beliefs, mind tricks, things that are looping from the past, old stories, old fears. That can be therefore acknowledged, and you can see all of that going on because all of your needs are met from the foundation. Is this making sense? So the invitation of this new habit is to weave it into your nervous system by setting alarms over the weekend. So the invitation would be set 3 alarms on Saturday and Sunday. 1 in the morning, 1 at lunchtime, and 1 maybe not too late because you might be tired. Tea time. On Saturday and on Sunday, when the alarm goes off, literally take 60 seconds. This is not going to interrupt your weekend. Take 30 seconds to 60 seconds, closing your eyes and allowing your consciousness into a sense of safety. Allowing your consciousness into a state of self-acceptance and self-approval for every experience that you've ever had. It's all okay. And then allowing your consciousness to surrender into, I don't know, surrender into the soul, surrender into the present moment of, I don't need to know anything. There's nothing to prove. There's nothing to do. All my needs are met and I can see. You can go back into do as soon as you finish the exercise because you might have a list of things to do on your Saturday or Sunday. But just for 60 seconds, a couple of minutes, allow yourself into that peripheral vision state of, let's see, security, approval, relinquish control. Yeah. And often, straight after doing this exercise, you might notice, oh, for the last hour, actually, I've been worrying about packing a bag because I'm going to my dad's later, and I was worrying whether I would have everything warm enough, or I was worrying whether I'd forget anything. And you might end up noticing ineffective thought loops because you're allowing yourself to have all of your needs met, and these things, these habits that you're doing that aren't effective tend to show up a little bit clearer. So you might end up, you can journal or write what you notice, but from doing the exercise, you might realize, oh, I've been really stuck in my head worrying about this. And absolutely, now it seems that it doesn't really matter and everything's okay. And it allows you into that pattern interrupt space to give yourself a little bit more time, a little bit more gentleness, a little bit more understanding. You can by all means use the challenge 1 and challenge 2 exercises as well, but this is part 3, just to really round everything off and allow everything to take root and really make sense. I really, really hope that that is helpful. And this is especially good if you find yourself in drama. So use security, approval, control. If you find yourself in drama or in conflict, absolutely 100% meet all your needs for yourself. If you come to a state of all needs met, you will be able to figure out whatever it is. Happens to me every time. Once I have this ingrained in my life, I was free, because drama didn't have a hold on me. I wouldn't get caught up into other people's stories, other people's negativity, other people's drama, or other people's opinions of other people's, and sort of get sucked into this mental world of, oh, it's almost like a distraction from going into your heart. So if people are spending a lot of time in their heads, dramatizing things, making up stories, it needs to be exciting or dramatic, or this person did this, and lots of storytelling and lots of things going on. It's an avoidance technique from actually really meeting themselves and what is, and an avoidance to love, because there's a part of them that's afraid of love and afraid of receiving love and joy. So there's a part of me that goes, yeah. Just to acknowledge if any drama lots of heady things is going on, then just to know, it's like, I want to stay in my head. I need to stay in my head. It's a big distraction from really coming into actually where's the fear of love? Why is there a challenge to drop into the heart? Perhaps there's a fear of, if I go into my heart and I want to receive love, then I might not get it. There's a rejection wound or something happening, but it's an avoidance technique for whatever is beneath that. Be compassionate with anyone in drama. You don't need to push them or tell them that they need to be somewhere where they're not. Just worry about, you can meet your own needs, and you can do this exercise for yourself that allow other people to have their own process, their own time, their own drama, because they will drop in when they're ready. But at least you know for yourself, if you're being sucked in to drama or story, that you have this tool available to go, actually, I want to come to a state of all needs met so that I can come back to myself. I can feel me. And then you can meet your own needs because you've met all of your 3 core human desire needs. And then anything that you personally need on top of that will be revealed, because you're not needing the collective core human desires. I really hope that is helpful, that it makes sense. If I've missed anything, or if anyone has any questions, please do email or put a comment on the YouTube video, because I can always do a follow-up video answering any questions or get back to you personally. So enjoy security, approval, control over the weekend. If you've done that exercise before for a certain amount of time, do it again, because it's so helpful to wash these things over again, remember, and there will be just other nuanced little parts that you might have missed. So the invitation is, even if you've done this exercise before, redo it over the weekend. Have another couple of days with all needs met, and see what comes alive for you in that process. Very exciting. And for those that are really interested in heart and intelligence, how do you truly love yourself deeper? How do you take this in coaching relationships? Perhaps you want to coach someone from head to heart. So effective with emotional intelligence. Perhaps you want to take it into your intimate relationships. How do you communicate from the heart with somebody? How do you come into deeper connection with your partner? Then Christian's retreat is the 29th, 30th of June, 1st, 2nd of July. And that's hosted and co-facilitated by myself here in Manningtree in the UK. Tickets are on, I think there's only a handful left, so please go to the website if you're interested in heart intelligence work. This 4-day retreat will be out of this world. Christian is the most powerful mentor I've ever had, and so knowledgeable about group space and heart intelligence work. So learning from him directly is such a gift. And it will be an intimate space in June. So you're not going to have massive amounts of people like you would at a bigger retreat centre. It will be so intimate. So if you are local and you're like, oh, I need to look at this, go to the website, absolutely 100%. www.heartiq, heartiq.org, /LRY. I'll link it below this video. heartiq.org /LRY, because the retreat is called Love, Relationships and You. So if you have loved this challenge, if you love these exercises, you will absolutely adore Christian, and get so much out of it. It has transformed my world, my relationship with my partner, my relationship with my daughter, the way that I co-parent. Is spirit is ringing, going, yep. Yeah, absolutely. Can't recommend it more, and will alter your life and is so incredibly transformative. Being in his field, being in Christian's frequency. It's work that came out of the Conversations with God books, and Christian reading those in the 90s, and then working with Neil Donald Walsh to bring the concepts that are in that book into an experience, into embodied experience. So it's like, these are all concepts in the mind, but how do I bring this into my heart, into my life, and have it livable? And that is what the Heart IQ work is. So please do have a look and make a way out of no way. Make yourself available for those dates, because 100% learning from Christian himself, the biggest gift. So thank you for enjoying this challenge. I hope that it has served, and I hope to see you live in person, hopefully in June. Mwah. Upie